Right. I think I'm connected. I'm just waiting for Stuart to arrive back now. Yes, sorry about this, guys. It did clearly say this is a test, but I have ended up having to use my mobile phone rather than the laptop. We've had so many issues with the laptop. Guests, there, add to stream. Darling, I think that's right. I think you're there. Can you hear me?
I can.
I can hear you, thankfully.
Oh, better late than never.
Oh, we're a bleeding malarkey, let me tell you.
Do you know what I mean? I was saying all the technology. We thought we'd have flying cars by 2000. We're stymied by SteamYard.
Well, I don't know if it's still on, but I was actually saying about Hench Herbivore when I did the chat with him. It took me about 20 minutes to get sorted, and what I ended up having to do was to get this laptop, which is an external one, plugged into the laptop, which has an internal to be able to do the connection. It was crazy. It was absolutely stupid. But the good thing about this is that it has prompted us to I mean, God, it's going to skin us. It's going to skin us for a couple of months, but we need to invest in a new laptop. Can't continue doing these Skype stories and all this stuff on YouTube and wanting to kind of branch out on that side of it and not having the right equipment. I mean, this is all right on my phone.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to have the option, don't you? And not feel like it's an uphill battle. Absolutely. Oh, no. Oh, Karen. I am but a fool. I know it's Carol, but can't demonetize if it's not a real song. Oh, no. Well, you know, this is a test.
I went off for a minute then because I was mucking about. I'm going to stop pushing buttons and mucking about with stuff. And as soon as this is over, I'm going to drag bits of money from here, there, and everywhere and order a new laptop because I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
When you're done, you're done. Do you know what I mean?
Now, to talk about something completely different, Stuart.
Yeah.
What I'd like to know is, as a lecturer, as an educator, what did you think about before the U-turn, about the whole A-level fiasco?
Well, you know, I'm glad you've asked that. And first and foremost, what I would like to point out is that although the U-turn has happened on A-levels, it's not, to my knowledge yet, been done across the board with BTECs and vocational qualifications.
No, they're not doing BTECs, are they?
No, which is bad news because BTECs are A-level equivalents, obviously, just for anyone who doesn't know, who's maybe not from the UK. You know, are a pathway to higher education as well. So they're equivalent to like 3 A-levels. And there's been a lot of discourse about that online and stuff about like the validity of them and so on and so forth, as if they're seen as a soft option, which is a bad thing that we do a lot in education. I think in terms of demeaning people's pathways, and also I don't know if you know, it's been a lot on Twitter today about, you know, the subjects that students are taking at post 16 level and like which are important and so on and so forth, which is very damaging to the students who are trying to pursue, you know, not only we need to get away from this idea that education is purely just in order to feed into the capitalist regime of you have to get a job from this, otherwise it's not worthwhile. Because what that's essentially doing is that unless you can saying that unless you contribute to us, the collective us, then we have no respect for, you know, your pursuit of knowledge or your development of skills and so on and so forth, which that's a dangerous narrative in and of itself. Other than that, I think that from my perspective, I was appalled but not surprised.
Yeah.
You know, this government in particular, more than any other, has constantly raged class warfare. At every
They're all
turn.
eating boys, aren't they? When all said and done, they're all eating boys. They all knew each other. They all scratched each other's backs. They all covered for each other when they made up fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now this is the kind of, it's the boys' club. It's purely and simply the boys' club, but it's the same in America with Trump and his cronies. Anyway, go on, I digress.
No, it's fine. It's just, I mean, you know, the whole thing about, I mean, it's plain as the nose on my face. That, you know, the whole thing with Etonians in particular, and people of their ilk, and the private school thing, where they, their grades were suddenly fine, no problems, but it was like people coming from state education that were, you know, suffering these huge downgrades. I don't know if you saw that one particular story about the young guy who was downgraded to a C, I think, or was it even lower in Spanish, when Spanish is his native language. Which just makes no sense, does it? Do you know what I mean? But also, I think it's about the continual undermining of teachers by this government, either overtly or insidiously. Because what you're saying is, by rather using an algorithm to predict grades, you're saying basically then that you don't trust the people that teach the youth of this nation to be able to predict their grades correctly. And me and a colleague were talking about this, and we were saying, if we'd have had to predict the results of our graduates for the last couple of years, we wouldn't have got that wrong, or certainly not far wrong, not to the extent that this so-called algorithm, which is a stupid idea anyway, would have. It's like, teachers know your student, know their students, they know your kids. You know what I mean? You need to trust them to make those decisions.
You know, though, it's not just, when you're saying, basically, it was a kick in the face for teachers, because it was basically saying, we don't trust you to do what you've been doing for all the years that you've been employed in this job. But really, this government looks down on all public sector workers, because teachers are like nurses, public sector workers are. And nurses have had exactly the same kind of disrespect from this government. I mean, there's a meme going around at the moment, is it, for the last 10 years, MPs have had a pay rise, and there hasn't been one in the health service for all that time.
Absolutely.
So they are generally looked down upon.
Yeah. They're also pushing this weird narrative as well that I'm noticing a lot of people talking about online, as if it's true that that essentially, I'm aware, by the way, just for everyone watching, I'm not a pre-18 teacher, so I don't work in schools, but this weird idea that teachers have just been having a holiday for the past 6 months, or that we've been on some sort of weird extended summer break, I'm here to tell you it's not true. You know, and this feels like part and parcel of that, where the government have basically, in their overzealous attempt to appease people at the risk of public safety, are like, get the kids back to school, get them all back to school, blah, 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 blah. And then in order to do that, what they're essentially saying is, you know, show them bloody lazy teachers. They've been sat at home doing now. Huns, I wish, is all I can say. I wish. And while we're at it, Keir Starmer wants to start being a proper member of the opposition for the Labour Party as well, because at the moment he looks alarming like a bootlicker. I said it.
I heard you. And
do you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what I can do here. I didn't realise that. Right, so I could just hang on. Let me get my glasses, Karen. You keep chatting amongst yourselves.
That if you were
right, obviously I can't.
All students back in school in September.
The comments.
Oh, you back? Have you back, love?
I've got my contacts in, but I can't read the comments because it's too small. But
all right.
oh, here we go. See, look what's happening. So I can touch a thingy, a comment, and then it gets displayed on the screen like that. So hello, London Vegans, and hello, Michelle Love. Who's Kia? Is someone in the chat called Kia? Posh folk. Yeah, Michelle, I'm highlighting that. Posh folk don't do BTEC, so they don't matter. Well, I shall have you know, Michelle, though, I consider myself quite posh, as does Miss Karen Krauser over there in Rockerdale, and we've both done BTEC to some tune. I mean, she went on and did the MA. What have you got now? BA, MA?
Yeah, that's as far as I've got, yeah.
Yeah. That's as far as she's got, yeah. She's a master of the arts and a bachelor of the arts. That's as far as I've got.
No, it's true, though.
She's a lecturer at Lister. That's as far as I've got in life.
I didn't mean it like that.
I know you didn't. I'm just pulling your leg, Karen. Oh, nice comments there, Magenta Magdalene. Possible consolation is that pupils value their teachers, and those 18-year-olds will be voting next time. It's very true.
Yeah, there is a lot about that that I've seen people saying. It's like students will be eligible to vote next time. Don't forget this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, don't be. Well, I don't wish to demean the efforts of people that did protest, and rightly so, either online or in person, to force this U-turn. Don't be fooled into thinking that's the battle won, is what I'm saying. I think because a lot of this is to do with the fact that I think the government underestimated how many of their supporters would speak out against this, because it's affected their kids as well, bearing in mind the disproportionate amount of Tory voters that don't access private schools. You know, we saw that with the last election, the massive landslide. So, you know, there's an element of appeasement there from the government with this U-turn as well. If they could have got away with it, they wouldn't have done a U-turn on it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one. Me and Jason were talking about Boris the other night, actually. We think Boris is much, much more clever than Trump in that Trump is so protective of his ego that he's constantly seeking approval. Johnson doesn't mind looking like a bumbling idiot. Because he knows that gets him points with people. But there's a very, 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 very clever man back there, you know, amongst all the bumbling idiocy, who's extremely manipulative and deeply embedded in a boys' club that none of us are welcome to even look at. So it all does my head in, Beryl, to tell you the truth. It hurts me, you know, in my soul.
No, same. It's just it all comes back to the same thing, doesn't it? In terms of, like, you know, once again, the current administration proving themselves incompetent at every turn. You know, normally, like, but I've never known it across the board. to such an extent that it is at the moment. It's like
everything
they wrong.
Absolutely.
You
If
know?
we don't start rising up, properly rising up though, and actually saying that we're not going to take this shit anymore. And you know, you see it, you're starting to see it in little, tiny little trickles. For example, there was a gentleman, Mr. Date, D-A-T-E, Mr. Date, a reporter for the Washington Post, and he was at a press conference, one of Trump's little blow his own trumpet press conferences, where he talks about the devastation that New Zealand are having with its 9 cases, while there's another 10,000 in America. You know, one of those events. And Mr. Date just asked him outright, you know, how do you feel about do you have any remorse at all for the amount of lies that you've told the American public for the last 3.5 years? And Trump was like, the amount of what now? And he said, lies. And Trump was like, who's told? And he said, you told. And Trump was just like blanket. But that's what we need more of. We need those. Let's not forget, we had a fabulous state of fantastic, powerful journalism, journalistic women of colour asking questions to Trump, really awkward questions, and getting deeply put down and offended by some of the things he said back to them. And they kind of started this trend. But we need more people to do this. We need more people. We don't seem to have a press and a media at the moment that are really paying attention to everything and actually calling out the bullshit. No, you said that 2 weeks ago. Stop, just keep saying that. Do you know what I mean? But I think that a part of that has to do as well with is, you know, I watch a lot of progressive news, a hell of a lot of progressive news, and I mainly stick with TYT because 2 of the other progressive ones that I do watch to keep my American spin, Sam Cedar and David Pakman, they're having a bloody feud at the moment. Like a really pathetic feud. Sam Cedar accusing David Pakman of buying subscriptions because they're both of them are nearly at 1 million. They're at like 900,000 each. But then they started this stupid little, and I'm like, oh, I thought you were progressive. Is it because you're American? Is this the? Is it normal to be in conflict? Do you have to be calling someone out? Or that I find it so tiring and draining, all of it constantly, because it's never ending. That's why I did my videos like, how does this help? And you know, about filtering yourself, and when someone shows you who they are, believe them and move on.
Yeah.
The chat stopped, and that's
well, I think no, well, I think it all ties into that around the same thing around like partisan views and what we used to call like folk politics and stuff like that. I'll explain what I mean by that because I know that's quite a weird thing to put it on, is the sense that when you're sort of fighting against a let's call it a common enemy or a common oppression sort of thing, what you have to be really careful about doing is not falling into single issue politics, or, you know, single incidences of what you feel to be wrong, and allowing that to cause chasms between people that could be allies. It's like, yeah, of course, if there's injustice and so on and so forth and oppression, you do need to recognize that and not forget it. But you also need to have an eye on the long game, because what people that are ultimately at the top want is for the people underneath to be constantly squabbling, because while you do that, there's no credible resistance.
Divide and conquer is one of the old quotes in the book, isn't it?
Yeah, divide and conquer. Yeah, absolutely.
All divided. Now, see, I get that. I get it. And I understand the need to, for example, I stopped blocking people on Facebook who openly talk about themselves or Victoria or speak positively about Boris Johnson because I can't have any impact on them. But I mean, I can't have any impact on them if they can't see me, if I can't see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would rather us be able to see each other and maybe occasionally interact with each other. But there are, I think people do certain things. Right, I'm not going to mention any names here. But I'm going to say there's an ex-vegan YouTuber who I hold no ill will towards. Like, I wouldn't ever want to see any harm done to this person, or I'm not that, because I'm not that kind of person. However, I have learned from what I have seen of this person never to interact with them again.
Mm-hmm.
And some people in the chat will probably get what I'm talking about when I say this now. But when this person declared that they were not going to be vegan anymore, I've watched on Facebook as dozens of vegan friends of this person were posting, as they would, inquisitive and, you know, really, why? Surely this can't be this, blah, 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 blah. And I watched this person's friends and family verbally attack and abuse every single vegan in that thread. And I saw this person like every one of those abusive posts, every single one of them. And then I blocked them. When I raised this on YouTube not too long back, what I got back was, I stood up for you with homophobia. Which again showed me who that person was, because if you ever stand up for me against hate and then use it as a point score, then you didn't mean it in the first place.
Absolutely.
Because
that's just Paul doing the right thing. It's not an obligation. Yeah, you're not obligated to be thankful.
Exactly. That was used as justification, as like, why are you saying that? I did this for you. And I was like, that's something you never bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever. You can't use it as a point scoring thing. Say, yeah, I did this, but I did that. And so that person has shown me who they are. I could not give a shit for the rest of my life. I don't want to hear one word they have to say about anything, unless they become a different person, because that person I want to do with. And that's what I think we all have to do. That's the bravery it takes. It takes not always looking for the link, but say, no, I'm not going to look for the link there, because I've acknowledged this thing and this thing, which are abhorrent and would be abhorrent if they were done to me, to anybody, and I find them unacceptable. Therefore, I find you unacceptable. If at some point in the future you prove to me that you are not that person anymore, that you're a better person, that you wouldn't do that again, then we'll talk. Right now, that's who you are. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't waffle, Karen.
I don't think it's waffle if it's pertinent points.
Yeah. Oh, we need to tell everybody as well about no doubt some people will come across this, who are also part of the Vegan Queens, and in fact I'll share this on the Vegan Queens page. You know,
Malarkey, yeah.
Yeah, we were going to do, the Vegan Queens were going to do another show on the 30th of August. But right now, it is illegal for 2 different households to congregate in one garden here. Because Oldham and Rochdale and Manchester, Oldham's the worst, but Rochdale and Manchester aren't far behind as 3 of the worst in the northwest region, with rising cases. So it's not something I'm afraid we're going to be able to do, which is a shame, because it would have been. But you know, is Stuart vegan? Yes, Stuart is vegan.
But you know, we've got to. We're moving dead slow. But yeah, it's a shame. But you know, we got to put our money where our mouth is, and you know, we support, you know, staying safe and the local lockdown and everything. So we got to abide by it. You know, there's too many people as it is doing what about it. So, you know, if we all do what about me, then nothing gets solved, does it? You know, so.
Like, I don't want to pause one.
Sad though it is. I'd love to bring you some high five.
Is it called best titles, that Paul?
You what, love?
I said that's another title of another one of Paul's blogs. What about me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I was on a slight delay, but I'm all right now.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right, love. Hey, don't you worry about it. Right, well, I think we've established that this works.
Yeah.
You know, kind of.
In a
I've got to.
In a
I've got
sort of way, yeah.
Might switch this laptop on again and see, you know, what's wrong with it. No, I'm not. I'm not naming, and that was just one example to use as an example of the kind of things I find intolerable, and I am very strict about in my own mind when I come across them. I am intolerant of any and all bullying. Basically, is what it comes down to, which is why Stuart and I were 2 of the crew that started in the Triangle Theatre. Tackle homophobia, because we realised it was still a huge thing out there. But any kind of bullying at all, and especially to cover your own back.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But
so right, my darling, we'll end this here, shall we? Unless you've got anything else you want to say.
No, not particularly. Just a shout out to, you know, all my university colleagues, not just teachers, but also people who work in admissions. I know the next couple of weeks are going to be really, really difficult for you, because this so-called solution prior to the U-turn has actually created more problems than it's solved, and now everywhere is going to be massively oversubscribed, and it'll be down to the universities to deal with yet another problem that the that the government allowed to happen and then pass the buck on. So I just want to say solidarity to those people. I know how hard you work, even if the narrative is that we've just been skiving off for 6 months. So sending hugs and love, basically.
Well, to end this, guys, thank you for joining us for our random live chat. The first kind of StreamYard test. I'm very disappointed with this here laptop. I wouldn't mind, you know, it's only a couple of years old, this one.
Oh, it's not that old, is it?
No, it's Lenovo, but I didn't buy it for streaming, or, I mean, it won't even accept the editing software that we use. It's the editing software is too powerful for it. So we do need another laptop. I'm going to have to do my old, you know, family. We can lend us some money. Either a new laptop or a new webcam or something, because I'm not having this. I'm not having this. Now I've got this software sorted. I like it. It's good. I like it. I know that you can have a few people on screen at the same time. So, yeah, good. Right, love. Shall we get off?
Right. Thanks for inviting me to take part. I've right enjoyed myself.
Oh, thanks for coming. Don't forget to go and check out Stuart's channel. The library is open. Loads of book reviews. Oh, she's dead girlish. Drinks tea and wears cardigans. Thanks, everyone. See you later. I think it just ends now and it should end.
Lots of love.
End broadcast. Yes, Karen.